Hey, welcome to another video tutorial, an art tutorial. This time we're going to be focusing on hands. I don't know why a lot of people requested hands. I have no idea why people would want that from me. But anyway, this is going to be more of a beginner tutorial. So I'm not going to go into like super dynamic hand poses. This is just how to, the basics of how to draw hands. We're gonna break it down. Don't worry, I'm gonna go over dragon talons as well. So it's gonna be human hands and then talons, which, if you know your fundamentals, which I'm gonna teach you how I do my fundamentals, it's not gonna be too much of a difference. So let's get to it. So to make the hand a little bit easier to understand and therefore easier to draw, you have to break it down into shapes. So I like to use a pentagon shape. A simple, easy to understand pentagon shape. See, there we go. And this tip right here is going to be where the middle finger is. Now, after this, I usually just use lines for the fingers. Like that. But if you want and break it down to more shapes, you can use rectangles for the fingers. So, just do rectangles. And always remember, there's 3 joints for the fingers. 3. No more, no less. Unless you're doing like a spooky monster, you could have more than 3 joints. And that's gonna kind of look like a spider creature of some sort. Or sometimes what I do is when I do dragon talons, I do less than 3. So for example, there's 1, 2, and then I just do a claw. That would be like dragon talons. But if you're doing a human, it's 3 joints. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then for the thumb, I like to do a little triangle here. Because the thumb, most people see only 2 joints. But in reality, there's another one over here. So this is like its 3rd joint. 1, 2, 3. There we go. That's how I usually break down my hands. So a few things to keep in mind are that the fingers here they're never going to be aligned. So the fingers are always going to be kind of curved. Their alignment are going to be curved a bit. Like that. So there's never going to be like hands that are perfectly aligned with each other. 'Cause that's just going to look kind of weird. That's like a common mistake beginners make, that the hands are perfectly aligned. No, don't do that. Unless it's like a robot or something. But with human hands, you don't do that. Human hands, their fingers are going to be a bit curved. So the middle finger is usually always the one that's the longest. And then the ring finger, and then the pinky finger. So yeah, there's a curve here. Don't do this, do that. The only time I've seen someone do that is with the robot hand. But that's pretty much it. Now, if you follow me for dragon art, then have no fear, because this also works with talons. Not really much of a difference between human hands and dragon talons. You just change some things around, but the way you get there is the same, pretty much the same. So, pentagon, and then if you want, you can do rectangles, but I really just like to do lines because I'm pretty simple, and get with those. I like to keep it pretty simple. However, when I do dragon talons, I like to do like 3 fingers, because they're dragons, and nobody can tell you what you can and can't do, so I'm only going to do 3. And then the shape of the fingers, it's really up to you, really. I like to keep it simple, nothing too harsh. Now, some people don't do thumbs on them, but I like to put thumbs on them. There you go. Simple dragon talon. There you go, got your simple dragon talon using that method. And then after that, you can do, I don't know, some more complicated things like a finger pointing at someone. And it doesn't really matter what method you're using. It's really important to have references. References are your biggest friend. No, you're not cheating if you're using references. It actually makes your life a whole lot easier. Here's the thumb. And here's a middle finger. There we go. There we go. And you can have someone pointing at someone or to something. We can also draw a fist. Alright, so that covers the fundamentals I use for hands. It's really not that complicated, even though hands are really complicated to draw. But if you break it down to simple shapes, you can make it a bit easier on you. So, let's go over it again. Pentagonal shape. Here's the middle finger, the index finger, the ring finger, and the pinky. And then we make a triangle for the base of the thumb. Then we make the thumb. If you want, you can do rectangles for the fingers. And remember, 3 joints. 3 joints for the fingers. There we go. So hopefully this method will help you with hands. At least, kind of the basic hands, open hands. Sometimes with hands, I like to do some little shortcuts. So let's say I'm doing a hand, and I kind of in a little bit of a rush. I don't want to do every finger, or, detailed fingers, and I want to get this hand done quickly. So I'll get my finger, and then I get the middle and ring finger in one go. What? Alright, hear me out. You do your index finger, like you usually do, but when you go to the middle finger, you go middle, and then ring finger. I group those fingers together. Why? It saves me time. It looks a bit elegant. Instead of doing 2 fingers, I get to do 2 for the price of 1. There's the middle. There's the ring. And we're done. It's good when you're drawing a character waving hello or goodbye. It's a good shortcut. I like this shortcut. So that's my little small tutorial on hands. Maybe, next video I'll go over some more advanced poses or more advanced things we can do with hands. But as long as you know these fundamentals and break it down to shapes, it'll just make your life 100 times easier drawing hands. Because you have to believe me, hands were the hardest thing I needed to learn. They're not easy. They're pretty difficult. They're pretty complex. But with enough practice, and if you break it down into shapes, it'll make your life a bit easier to draw hands. Alright, see ya.